All right, today we're going to dive into a pretty radical idea. It's called the Singularity Gaze. It comes from this text on Directional Enlightenment. And, it suggests that you can totally change your reality, not by changing your life or your circumstances, but just by changing the direction you look. Sounds wild, right? Let's get into it.
So, have you ever had that feeling? That kind of sinking sensation where it feels like everything that's meaningful is just slowly fading away? Like all the connections are getting thinner and the whole thing is just dissolving into nothing? It's a really deep and kind of unsettling feeling, but it turns out there's a name for it.
That feeling? That's what it's like when you're looking toward entropy. It's that natural pull of things toward disorder and chaos. It's like you're watching purpose and all your connections just fade away over time. And it's a real thing, and this is the important part, it's only half the story.
So what's the other half of the story? This is where we get to the core idea. And honestly, it's a revolutionary one. Your experience of reality. It's not just about what's happening to you. It's about which direction your consciousness is looking.
And that brings us to this central concept, the singularity gaze. The whole idea is that right here, right now, you are standing at what's called a singularity. Now don't think black hole. Think of it as a single point of infinite potential. And from this one spot, this one position, you can choose to look in one of two totally opposite directions. And here is the absolute game changer. If you feel lost or stuck or hopeless, the problem isn't your position. You don't have to change who you are. You don't have to change where you are. You're already at the source of everything. You just need to change the direction of your gaze.
Okay, so what are these two directions really? Let's break it down and look at just how profoundly different they are and how they literally create two completely different realities.
And wow, when you put them side by side, the difference is it's night and day. When you look away from your center point, you get the entropy gaze. You see expanding darkness. You feel connections dissolving. But when you turn around and gaze toward that same point, the source gaze, you see infinite potential. Suddenly, every connection is visible, it's present, it's accessible.
And this isn't just some abstract philosophical idea. This has a real, direct emotional impact. The entropy gaze, well, it produces feelings we all know too well, right? Depression, that deep existential dread, that sense of meaninglessness and feeling totally isolated. It's the feeling of watching your own life decay.
But then you'll flip it. You turn your gaze toward the source and look at the alternative. It's the complete opposite. It creates feelings of awe, joy, a deep, profound connection to everything. You feel this overwhelming sense of abundance and infinite possibility because you're literally looking at the wellspring of creation itself.
Okay, so this sounds great, but how do we actually do it? This section is all about reframing enlightenment, not as some impossible goal you have to strive for, but as a simple, almost mechanical shift in your attention.
I absolutely love this quote from the source material because it just nails it. The spiritual path isn't a journey to get somewhere else. You don't have to travel anywhere or become some new, better person. The entire path is just a rotation of your attention, a 180-degree turn from looking out to looking in.
And honestly, this isn't some brand new idea. Think about all those phrases from ancient wisdom traditions, like the kingdom of heaven is within. What were they all pointing to? This exact same mechanism. Turn your attention away from the dissolving world out there and turn it toward the eternal source point you're already standing on. So here's how you actually do it, the practical application. First, just recognize when you're doing it. Notice when you're looking outward toward entropy. Step 2. Remember your true position. Remind yourself, I am at the singularity. And then, step 3, you just turn around. You consciously and intentionally shift your attention inward, looking into that source point instead of away from it. That's it. That's the whole practice.
So where does all this lead? Well, it leads to this really powerful conclusion about your own agency. It's about recognizing that you, right now, hold the power to choose your reality in every single moment.
This, for me, is maybe the most liberating takeaway of all. That feeling of existential dread, of hopelessness, it doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It's just a feedback signal, like a compass. It's telling you that your attention is pointed in the direction of dissolution. You're simply looking the wrong way.
And so that brings us to the final choice, doesn't it? It's a question you can ask yourself at any moment of any day. Which direction will I choose to look?
Am I going to look toward entropy, or am I going to look toward the source, toward dissolution, or toward infinite potential? And that's really the bottom line. You don't have to change your position. You don't have to change who you are at your core. You are always, always at the singularity. All you have to do is turn around to experience a completely, entirely different reality. So the only question left is, how often will you remember to look?